So you want to become a copywriter. How can you do it if you have no experience, no qualifications, and you haven't a clue about where to start? Hi there, my name is Brian Collins. Welcome to the Become a Writer Today channel. In this video, I'm going to explain how you can become a copywriter. If you're unsure what a copywriter is, they basically write words that sell products and services. It's a fantastic way to earn a good living from the written word because companies need copywriters to sell their software, to sell their physical products, to sell their merch, and to write copy that converts for their websites. In other words, there's a bigger demand for copywriters than ever today, thanks to the prolificity of online content. The only problem is it's exceptionally difficult to figure out how to become a copywriter when you first start hearing about this job opportunity for new writers. After all, you're not going to find a course for a copywriter in your local university or college. And even when you go to the job application or the job ads on your local newspaper or jobs board, you won't often come across advertisements for copywriter. So what should you do and how can you break into this niche, or niche as you say in the United States, or industry? Well, here's my story. Here's how I did it. My background is as a journalist. I originally trained as a journalist in the early 2000s and I actually spent a good bit of time out of work because it was really difficult to make a living as a journalist. It was a frustrating experience and I managed to get a couple of hours a month working as a copywriter. I didn't actually know I was working as a copywriter at the time. It was only much later when I reflected on what I did that I realized there was an entry point into the world of copywriting. Basically, I was interviewing people about their products and services and turning it into informational guides and so on that people could use on their websites. Much later, I got a job working as a copywriter for a British software company. It was my job to write the copy on the product pages that sold these products and services. I also wrote the copy or words that went into emails which were sent out about discounts, marketing campaigns, the latest offers, and so on. And it wasn't long before I started earning six figures from working as a copywriter. It was a great career, and even though I since left that British software company and I'm working for myself, I still use many of the skills that I acquired as a copywriter over the years in my business and when I write online. If you want to become a copywriter, your first port of call is to start reading some books about psychology and about the art of copywriting. In fact, the book that I recommend you start with is called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. That's because copywriting is all about persuading your readers, prospects, or customers to act, to subscribe, or to buy. And in this particular book, the author Robert Cialdini talks about the 6 principles of persuasion: reciprocation, commitment, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity. All good copy draws on one of these principles, and it'll give you an overarching framework that you can think about when you're writing an email, or when you're writing a sales page, or when you're writing a guide, or even a product brochure. I'd also recommend checking out The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy. He's a famous 7-figure copywriter. That's right, you can earn 7 figures from copywriting. And he provides plenty of examples of email and sales letters, both long form and short form, that you can study and that you can learn from. Another copywriting book that I also recommend checking out because it's short, succinct, and it's something that you can dive in and out of, kind of like a reference book, is Cashvertising. Now, it's focused on ad agency copy, and I'll talk about that in a few moments. But it basically provides lots of different real-world examples of how copywriters have sold physical and digital products. My favorite copywriting book isn't one you'll find on Amazon. It'll cost you over $100 to acquire because you have to buy it directly from a website. So just Google Breakthrough Advertising. It's one of the most famous copywriting books that's out there. And it's a book that I have read multiple times. It gives you an overarching framework for what copywriting does, how to persuade prospects, and all of the various techniques that you can use with examples. And it's a book that I referred to regularly when I was working as a copywriter. So if you're serious about copywriting, this is the one book that I recommend that you get. You may be thinking, I don't just want to read books, I want to take some sort of course so I can become an accredited copywriter, and that makes it easier for me to find work. Unfortunately, you're unlikely to find these types of courses in your local college or university. That said, there is an online course that I took years ago which I think is excellent. It's from the American Writers and Artists Institute. The course that you're looking for is called the Accelerated Program for 7-Figure Copywriting. It costs approximately $500 or $497 to take this particular course. It provides lots of different examples of copywriting sales letters, emails, and so on that have worked. It's a combination of text and video. And you can also get feedback on copy that you write if you complete the various exercises and interact with other students. It took me about maybe 10-15 hours to complete this particular course, and I still refer to the lessons that I learned in this course over time. That said, even if you take this course, don't expect other companies or employers to recognize what this course is. It's simply giving you the skills that you can use to land your first client. And it's through landing your first client that you will be able to find meaningful work as a copywriter. Now that you've read some copywriting books, you have an understanding of what a copywriter does, and perhaps you've taken a course, your next job is to pick a niche or niche. There's lots of different niches that you can pick to work in as a copywriter. Some of the best paid niches include finance, whereby you're writing about personal finance, personal development, technology, health and fitness, food and drinks, software as a service, and this is an industry that I worked in, physical products, and B2B or business to business. And while you're picking one of these niches or niches, I'd also encourage you to think about the type of copywriting that you'd like to specialize in. While you can gain experience in all of these areas, over time you're going to work towards one particular area because this will give you more time to keep up with market trends and what's happening in your industry. Types of copywriting to specialize in include e-commerce, email, direct response, long form sales letters, and social media. There's plenty of other types that you can find too, but ask yourself, what type of copy do you want to write and what do you want to write about? Now that you've completed some training by yourself and you've identified your niche and you've started to think about what type of copywriting to specialize in, I'd like you to build a personal swipe file. A swipe file is basically a technique that copywriters use or employ whereby they gather all of the high converting copy and examples of sales letters, emails, and so on that convert. They put all of this into one place so that they can study it and replicate what it works. It's not necessarily plagiarism, you're simply studying the hooks on the long form sales letters and how copywriters are communicating their message and encouraging readers and prospects to act. So as an example, I have here the long form sales letter for the AWAI accelerated program for 7-figure copywriting. It describes all of the benefits of the program and what you get. It has a no risk guarantee, the pricing, and so on. And what I would do is I would clip or save this particular sales page into Evernote, and I would annotate it with elements of the copywriting framework that I feel works and I could employ for a future copywriting project. Similarly, if you subscribe to somebody's email list and they start sending you a series of emails that encourages you to buy a product or a service or take one of their courses, send all of those emails to Evernote or to your personal swipe file. You don't have to use Evernote. So that you can refer to them and that you can print them out and you can study the story that copywriters have told in these particular emails to encourage prospects or respondents to act and take that course. Because the job of a copywriter isn't the job of a creative writer. They're not coming up with something from nothing. Instead, they're employing what already works within a specific niche or industry to encourage prospects to act. There's a few different options if you want to work as a copywriter. So the first thing you can do is work as a freelance copywriter whereby you pitch clients your services. You can use a service like Upwork to do this, whereby you look for businesses or employers who are looking for writers, or you can use the Pro Blogger Jobs Board as well. On the other hand, if you want to work as an in-house copywriter, whereby you work for a particular company, you may be better served using a traditional jobs board or a service like LinkedIn. Now, the tip here is that you traditionally won't see businesses advertising using the word copywriter. Instead, they'll use words like content writer, content strategist, or content marketer. And copywriting will be a skill set that informs these particular jobs. So even though you may have to do some things that are kind of unrelated to copywriting, it may be worthwhile applying for these jobs, whether it's a freelance gig or a more permanent job, so that you can acquire some experience. Because since you've read all of the copywriting books that I talked about earlier, you will understand how important it is to demonstrate credibility. And the best way to demonstrate credibility as a copywriter is to have testimonials from happy clients or from happy employers that you can feature on your personal website. Yes, that's right. It's only when you've done all of these things that you can set up your personal website and start using that as a place for your products and services. You can put those testimonials from happy clients. You can describe the niche or industry that you've specialized in and the type of copywriting services that you offer. On the other hand, if you did this up front, then how are people going to know who you are and how are people going to land on your website? You need to have already built up that network as a copywriter. Now, to do this successfully may require that you work for free to acquire your first testimonial or at a discount, but you can quickly increase your rates as you specialize. So I talked about earlier about those niches or industries that copywriters work in. So if you're working in the finance or B2B industry, you can easily become a 6-figure copywriter over the course of a year or two if you work for the right clients and get the right testimonials. So while you may need to work at a steep discount at first, you can easily earn lots of money later on as a copywriter. Copywriting is a skill. Copywriting is a skill set that's been around for quite some time, but it's changed over the years thanks to analytics. And this is a skill that many copywriters don't have or don't take full advantage of. I recommend that you get familiar with some analytics tools that you can use to track how prospects are interacting with your copy, because this will give you an edge over other potential copywriters that you are competing with for high paying jobs. So you may, for example, want to take out a trial account of Hotjar and suggest that your clients use this, and then you can see how people are interacting with your copy and give meaningful insights to your clients. Every good copywriter should have an understanding of how Google Analytics works and how to set up conversions and how to figure out what pages are the most profitable pages on a particular site and how you can improve them. I'd also recommend that you consider taking an A/B testing course using a CXL or the Conversion Institute. It'll provide you with lots of different information about how to set up A/B tests for your copy and what type of metrics and so on you should expect. The takeaway here is that becoming a copywriter involves a bit of work up front. You have to identify your specialism and your niche or niche. You have to find some potential clients and gather testimonials. And then you have to find the right types of copywriting gigs. And then over time, you can start to earn good money working as a copywriter. Even if you eventually stop working as a copywriter like I did, the skills that you have will prove invaluable. That's because copywriting dramatically informs how anybody produces content or writes online. If, for example, you are an author, you could use your copywriting skills to write a compelling hook for your book or to write a compelling description on Amazon. On the other hand, if you're a blogger, you could use your copywriting skills to set up an email funnel that encourages people to buy your products, services, or courses, or just simply to write a high converting page on your website that sells affiliate products. Copywriting is a valuable secondary skill that every writer should learn and study. The best way to do it is by reading copywriting books, potentially taking one of the courses that I've talked about, working for a few free clients or for clients at a discount until you get the right testimonials, and then figuring out what area to specialize in. Constantly hone your craft and constantly figure out how you can convince your customers, readers, and prospects to act using everyday real-world language. Hope you enjoyed the content in this video, all about how you can become a copywriter with no experience. If you have questions or feedback about this career path for writers, let me know in the comments section below. And to get my latest video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.